Hey everyone, we're glad you're back watching another episode of the WorshipCast. I'm Franklin.
I'm Matt, and this is our friend,
Corey.
Alright, on this week's episode of the WorshipCast, we brought in Corey. Corey does not play in the band with us. Corey just hangs out in our congregation.
Yep.
So this is going to be a very different kind of video. There's been a lot of videos on YouTube of people talking about how the congregation, they don't know as much about your tone, or they don't care as much, or whatever. But nobody has gone far enough
To actually bring one.
Yeah, to get one and bring them. So here he is. Corey, tell us a little bit about your musical background.
I have a guitar.
It might be for sale soon.
No, that's about it. I started playing a little bit of bass. Didn't really care for it that much, mainly just because at the age I started, didn't have enough finger strength to really hold down those massive strings.
Yeah.
And then I just switched to the guitar, and I'm terrible at it. So, yeah, I know music. I know what the sound is.
So we, first off, not to throw you under the bus, I've heard Corey play.
It's not good.
He knows his chords. He knows some stuff, and we have played Rocksmith together and had a wonderful time. So,
Hey,
have you played Rocksmith, by the way?
I have not, but I have played Guitar Hero, which is kind of...
It's the same thing. It's exactly
I'm
the
not very
same
good at it, I'll be honest.
Rocksmith, not a sponsor. Anyway, Corey you don't consider yourself a musician, but
No.
you've played and stuff, so you know enough about guitar to understand.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, what we're going to prove today is that Corey does not care about my gear. What he cares about is how he describes the sound that comes out in front of house. So, let's start this way. This will be fun. So, on my pedal board, I have the Strymon Big Sky, which is a big box reverb pedal.
Okay.
It's got 12 different styles of reverb in it, and you can hold up to, I think, 300 presets.
How do you have different styles of reverb? I thought it was just reverb.
Yeah. See? So when you go in, you've got I've got like a vocal style of reverb. There's a shimmer, which has octave pitches in it that can make it.
Oh, okay. I can like da 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 da.
Yeah, similar to that. Yeah.
Okay.
And then there's reverbs that have pre-delay, so they won't come in until a couple seconds after I play my notes. There's ducking
I got you.
reverbs.
Okay, I can see what you're talking about now.
Yeah, and so now I also have another Strymon pedal. Again, not a sponsor. Maybe one day. We'll see you guys later. I have the new Volante pedal, and so I generally use on that I can use a quarter note and a dotted eighth note delay, and I can kind of use them in tandem and use what's called the golden ratio with them, so that they echo at exactly the right interval. Yeah? Any of that? You care about any of that?
Going right there.
Not really, man.
Right there. This is where it's going right here.
I mean, but what does it sound like?
See, that's where we're headed. So you mix all those things together. And all that technical jargon that I just threw out. And for people watching this video, if you don't understand all that, good. That's the point. It comes out sounding like a very spacey, reverby, and that's what you know.
Yeah. I love when that happens, man. I really do. That's my favorite part, honestly, of worship, is like whenever you do the thing that makes it like so spacey and like I don't even know how to describe it really, but like it really just sets the atmosphere for just really the Lord to just move through and worship. It's just, I don't know. I feel like music in general, I mean, you can have fast tempoed songs and you can have your slow songs. You can have more of your a cappella-y kind of things. But I feel like the way I like to look at worship music is almost like a soundtrack to a good movie. It's not really about the sound, it's about what's happening on screen, right? Mm-hmm. But that sound can play a massive role a massive / immense role. I was trying to say this both words at the same time. But
immense.
It can just play just a major role and really just like getting my heart there and my mind there, where I can just honestly, I like to consider myself almost like zoning out when I'm worshiping, because mainly I can just cut out everything. I can listen to you just playing that very spacey, just zoning out kind of sound. I know it's got some reverb and there is some delay in it. I do know that much, but however you put it together, it doesn't matter to me. You just do it, and I love it because I'm able to just really just go off and just kind of focus on God. Really, I mean, it sets that tempo for me, honestly.
Yeah.
So, in a previous episode, Franklin and I talked about pretty much that exact thing, is that worship music, a lot of it is built, the sounds and the way things go are built to incite certain emotions. So there's very reflective times, there's very like powerful driving times, and those things can incite human emotions, and that's not by accident. And we've heard people say about worship music, well, it just does that on purpose to make you feel a certain way. You're right.
Exactly.
And again, do we think that that's an accident? That that's not the way that God intended for some things to be? No.
Yeah.
The cool thing about it is I love hearing kind of your explanation of it, because from a guitarist standpoint, I can put so much time and effort into those pedals, make sure everything's just right and everything's got the right level of modulation, and I've got the right delay for this song, and it mixes together to a certain... I can get so bogged down in that I miss the fact that I'm playing guitar instead of playing amateur electrician. I could go take the two cheapest, probably, no offense, reverb and delay pedals I have, set them to something similar, and the end result for you in the congregation
it'd be the same.
Would be the same.
And I think that's really all I care about. I mean, I'm sure, I know back when I was actually playing guitar a little bit more seriously, pedals are not easy when you're on a college budget to afford. So, I remember I think I had the Boss Overdrive. Just
SD1 Overdrive.
Yes, the orange box, you know what I'm talking about? Just like, yeah, and I remember having that cranked into it was one of those like super cheap, like came with the guitar Fender amps that had the overdrive button on it. And like, dude, I would make the most, it was the most unholy sound you've ever heard. But I thought I was a rock star, man, just playing noise. But obviously as I grew and really learned what sounded good, instead of just playing noise, I realized that the effects that I wanted were in much more pricier pedals and things of that nature, and just I started getting bogged down with having to have the best. You know me, I like to collect the whole thing with certain interests of mine, and
we'll come back to that point later about having to have the best. By the way, guitarists looking at you,
But really, it's just that's a really hard thing of myself to get off was you don't have to have the most expensive, you don't have to have the newest, you don't have to have the flashiest, as long as it gets the job done. I could have used that SD1 to actually make a good, healthy, rock sound, but I just didn't have the knowledge to use it efficiently, really. And I know you're in a completely different standpoint where you have the knowledge to where you could make cheaper pedals work to where I wouldn't know what you're using. The effect would be the same. So
unless you're using a metals on. If you're using the Boss metals on, you can't get anything usable out of that. But
I don't know.
Come on, man. Throwing the metals on, run their bus already. God. One day,
that's not true.
If you have a metal zone, send it our way.
Please send us one. Oh, man. We will give you a shout. We'll have you on the show. We'll have anybody on here. I'm kidding.
I'm apparently anybody.
The point was anyway. So let's do this. So Franklin, let's talk about some of the real technical things that you do with the keyboard. See if any of that makes a big difference.
Ooh. So I have some effects as well.
It's not just me.
It's not just you. Yeah. It's not just guitars. Yeah.
No, I get that, but I honestly thought that all like keyboard effects were like those preset buttons on the top of the keyboard.
No,
Is that not it?
that's not it.
I honestly thought you had to buy like a special keyboard that had different effects. Like we're gonna go to
You
like,
can.
Spacey, click the button, boom,
You can.
it's a synth.
You can, but I layer a lot of stuff, and then I even sometimes even triple or quadruple layer. So I can like do kind of what Matt does, but even further. So, which if your keyboardist out there, if you're not in that word yet, just wait. Oh, it's
You
so
get in the
beautiful.
weeds with keyboard stuff, dude.
Yeah, I mean, you bring in the pad. You slowly bring in the pad. You build that worship. Just wait till this coming Sunday. You'll hear it. You'll be like, oh, okay. And then, he brings in that one. Oh, and then he brings in that one. Oh, and then everything just mixed.
They're trying to corrupt me. They're trying to make me focus on the sound as opposed to the creator. You see this?
Yeah, don't do that.
I'm sorry.
Taking notes like that's the pad.
Yes.
My wife will be like, "What are you doing?"
I'm really paying attention this time.
No, seriously. Continue. I'm definitely interested to learn about keyboards.
Yeah, keyboards is just, it's great because you have so many different sounds. So you bring in the atmosphere. So you're layering, in a sense, the background, and you're filling up this empty space. So the keyboardists are always filling up everything, whereas the guitarists are adding a little bit here and there, like some notes here and there.
yeah.
Sprinkles on the
Sprinkles.
icing.
Oh yeah.
I definitely noticed that, especially like during the altar call and things of that nature. You're most of the time up there, even if it's just you and Matt goes up there maybe half the time. Mainly, I know here lately we've been doing like an actual song to close out instead of just like a cut and dry altar call. But no, I know with like the little I've done with music production, thanks to you.
Yeah.
Pads. I definitely do give that same feel. I do know completely, but I don't know. I guess I've just never really realized it in worship. I've never segregated instruments, I guess you can say, because I mean, you guys do a really good job of blending all the sound together, and I guess it is part of you to thank for the spatial voiding sound that I love so much. So,
Everything meshes once you
Oh, yeah.
hear it, and you're like, oh man. And then you could truly just like,
just comes to a crescendo.
So at the end of the day, same thing with keyboards. He layers all this stuff together. You don't think about all that kind of stuff, and you shouldn't.
yeah, you
But,
should. Yeah.
but you get that end result, in what happens. And so 2 points I kind of want to touch on. Like Corey said, you don't have to have the best of the best. And, we'll say that on the show over and over and over again. You do not have to go out and buy the most expensive best of everything. I would actually caution not to do that, because you can get something that has so much tweakability that, you're just not there yet.
That's all you think about too. There's like, oh, I wish I could do this, rather than just doing, here's a pad, here's a piano, and just worship. That's it. I was like, oh, dude, I wish I could have this. I wish I could have done this sound. Oh, I could have done this sound. And it's all about technical. And it's
Next
just
thing you know, you're worshiping your pedal board.
It's
Now, here's a question. Now, I know you have the ability. You both have the ability to basically like toggling it on and off and stuff like that. But I mean, I'm sure that you default your pedals to be at a certain dial turn and things like that before you go on. You're not really worried about modulating the effects and things of that nature during your live performance. I don't want to say performance, but during a live, worship. But I mean, would you say that it wouldn't be a problem then? Because maybe you could have a really good pedal, and if you've already done your homework and got it set somewhere, it would help you to be able to continue worship. It wouldn't be a filter, I guess. So, I mean, it's
kind of a double-edged sword. It's one of those things where if you're if you're kind of a beginner player and you've got your Boss SD1 and you go out and buy the Brothers Overdrive that's got 15 knobs, internal dip switches, and that kind of stuff, you may find yourself in a situation where you've got something now that's really high dollar, but you fiddle, you can't get the sound you want, and then the next thing you know, you're displeased with the worship you're able to do, and it can cause issues. But on the same token, if you get something that you can put time and effort into, and have your saved sounds and presets, it can help be a launching pad for some bigger things, which is kind of the end point that we'll make. towards the end of the episode. We'll head that way, but I have another question first. So, we've talked about how your favorite effect is the spacey, washy thing.
Yes.
What about, and this is going to sound vain when I ask it, but I don't mean it that way, viewers and everybody. What is your favorite part of my playing? Not the sound, but do you like it when I'm strumming big chords? Do you like the lead line stuff? And let's do the same for Franklin too.
You get too many solos. You really do. I'm just messing with you, man. No,
That's on purpose. I noodle over everything.
just I don't know. You don't really have anything that I'm like, whoa, Matt's really good or anything. It's just a collective
good.
sound.
I need to be in the background. Yeah.
I try not to pay attention to you. I see you enough times a week to not have to stare at you on the stage. So,
That's true.
but I don't know. There's not really like anything that you do, like how you play that really. I don't know. I mean, I'm not half the time focused on you.
Yeah.
If anything, I'll be worshiping and things, and then I'll feel that mood switching. I'll feel the atmosphere change based on how the band is starting to I don't know to enter into the spacey zone. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know. I can look over to you and I'll be like, wow, like yeah.
There it was.
That's it.
Yeah, but it's not really like a whoa. He just strummed off 5 chords in a 90-degree angle. I don't know, man.
The point of that was that from a congregational standpoint, we put so much time and effort into our pedals and stuff. Sometimes we don't put as much effort into what we're playing, and what we're playing, whether the effect on it is correct or not, will make more of a change probably to the congregation than making sure you've got the right swirl and stuff on it. Because if I hit a bad note, if I'm playing something wrong or out of time, that's going to stand out quicker than if I forgot to turn the delay on.
Oh, absolutely.
Right. Same for Franklin. So you can put all this time and effort into your stuff, and next thing you know, what happened? You played with that all week, and you didn't practice your part, and now you don't know what's going on. The song loses some dynamic because you're not present.
And I will say, like, it's not one of those things like where I could be, really, you could already be in that zone. I could be in my worship zone and just hear you miss a note and like instantly like it's gone. It's not like I get fixated on that anymore. Now it used to whenever I didn't quite know how to worship to where. I mean, I know your job as a worship band is to lead and just get you into that place, and we're supposed to just get to the point where we're just worshiping and we're not really reliant on you anymore, as opposed to just reading words on a screen. I mean, anyone can do that. It can be any song. It's not worship. It's all about your heart. But I will say it used to be at the point where I would struggle to get to that part, and if you did mess up, you would kill it for me. Like, I couldn't get there. But that's not anything to do with you.
It happens, man. Bad notes.
It's not the band. It's a personal worshiping thing that I've had to grow and really learn to push back. Because, again, like, it's not your performance that's making me feel this way. It's the fact that I'm able to enter into, or really having God's presence kind of release.
Yeah, there you go.
Just really feel the air. It's just it's a little different now, but at one point, yes, you missing a note, having a guitar string break, somebody being off key would just completely distract me for the rest of worship time. But that's a personal thing that I think everyone needs to realize, that worship is a heart thing, and your job is not to play perfectly and for us to sing songs all happy, nice, but it's really just, it's to worship the Creator, who doesn't care what you sound like, who doesn't care if you have a ridiculously expensive pedal or $25,000 worth of guitar equipment. Personal jabs here, Matt. I'm just messing with you, man. I don't know enough about Franklin's setup to judge him on it, so
mine is a probably $60 setup.
Hey,
he has wires hanging out of the back of his. from the 80s.
From the 80s.
And it works, and it's great, and there's something to be said about that.
Yeah.
But that's a good point, too, is that, when you're playing for your congregation, again, all the time and effort and stuff you put into that, and not everybody in your congregation is in the same place in their worship lives. And so, if somebody in the room, it does get turned off by bad notes or by certain sounds, it doesn't mean that they're in the wrong. It just means that they haven't grown to that place
Exactly.
yet.
And that's why I'll go into say that having a worship band where they do know the basics of playing instruments, not me. I would never be in a worship band because I would stop somebody who's at that point where they are distracted by bad playing to not be able to get into their zone of worshiping. I would be that hindrance. So it's a weird way to look at the building block of a worship band, because you have to be good enough to stop those people from not entering into that worship zone, but also I don't know, man.
There's a big calling that goes along with it. It absolutely is.
Literally sitting here talking about it makes me think about the whole dynamic a whole lot more. I've never cared enough to think about any of this.
Changing hearts here. But I think one of the biggest thing to come down to is we've thrown shade a little bit at expensive equipment, and we don't mean to. There's nothing wrong with having expensive gear and nice gear and that kind of stuff, and putting effort into it to sound your best so that you can worship a God who deserves it, and so you can worship with your congregation to put that out there. Expensive pedals, things like that, can be an inspiration. They can help inspire you to do more and be more in a very good way, as long as you don't let it get in the way. But if you've got a small pedal board, you've put all the money you can into it, and it's all you've got, you can do great things with that the same way, because at the end of the day, the worship experience being the same does not always rely on what's in your hands or what's on the floor. It relies more on what's in your heart.
I agree completely.
Amen.
And that's, we've said that a lot of times here on the WorshipCast, but we brought proof.
It's true now.
Yeah, you can't take it back, guys. All right, so Corey, thanks for being on the show with us and letting us kind of poke and prod your brain a little bit. Guitarist, keyboardist out there, love what you got. Buy things that will inspire you to be a better worshiper, not a better
music player.
Yeah, player.
Player.
Yeah, there you go. Thank you guys so much. Like, comment, subscribe if you like anything in this video, or if you disagree with something in this video, or if you've got another opinion, drop a comment. We would love to talk to you. Help out any way we can. Podcast websites, we're on those too. It's not just on video. Check those out. We're on all the big podcast websites these days now.
All the podcast websites, all the podcast applications. Just, if you're listening now, awesome.
WorshipCast blowing up. We'll see you guys next week. Thank you.